If you ask me what's your favorite brand of car maker, Porsche would be number one for me. And I have to have a 911. Air-cooled cars, older 911, I have to have one. It's purely you and the car. There's nothing in between. My name is Shawn Wang. I'm a real estate agent. I drive a 1987 Porsche 911 3.2 Carrera. I truly believe I can learn some driving from it. I wanted 87 to 89 because of the transmission it has with hydraulic clutch. Earlier cars had a cable clutch. So I was in the hunt for over a year, look around, check out ads every day. There's a dealership in North Vancouver. They bring in a couple cars from Japan once in a while. I just called him up. He said, I just got a car in which I sold to the previous owners back in 2004. And they treated the car like their baby. They were getting a little bit old, in their 70s. The car was never advertised. When they're on the same day, drove and bought it. I wasn't sure how much modification I would do. You know how that starts. So I put the car on deck stands, turn the rear suspension apart, then I started on the interior. Just start from there and didn't stop till I finished. 6 months later, was extremely painful when I did the interior. I was grinding for 2-3 weeks just to get everything off there, primed twice, painted. My wife got pissed off. She came home, the whole house smelled like paint, just left. Took my son and left. Went to my parents' house, complained. The build is really rewarding, and you actually know every single little detail about the car. It takes a lot of time to do it right. 99% confident that you do a better job than the shop. You are a lot more careful than the shop. You mark all your bolts and nuts. I have books there that shows torque figures for every single bolt. And every single bolt have been torqued to the factory spec. I want to keep it original body. The car has to remain narrow body and looks to be original. For me, I just enjoy a little bit more of a subtle looking of the car and classic finish of the car. This thing looks stock. It looks pretty normal if you don't look inside the car. One time I let my friend drove it. The moment I see the car drives away, I realize how beautiful it is. How good well, maybe to my eyes, but it's a good looking car when you see other people drive your car. Suspension brake wise, everything's new. The car was taken right down to the top. Anything that was left in the car would be the engine and transmission. The brakes are from 930 turbo. The front rotors are machined from 993 turbo rotors. It locks up every time you want it to lock up. And even sometimes you don't want to lock up, it will still lock up. You kill a set of tires, well, front tires anyways, in a couple sessions if you lock up too often. Overall enjoyment and driving dynamic will be number one. And not looking for the fastest lifetime or anything. Something I can drive and learn how to drive from. I had track racing back in 2007 with my STI. I started to run my 997 in 2011. Then I realized I cannot rely on big power. There's no point having a really fast car and going really fast on the track, which at the end of the day you still cannot drive, right? There's nothing, there's no ABS. The only thing that's got power would be power windows. One is broken. Yeah, but it's really interesting car to drive, and if you know how to drive it, you can go pretty fast. If you don't, it's very hard. The car understeers a lot. You just have to manage it. You don't do too much of steering work. It's all managed between the brakes and the throttle, and the car just turns. I have always been like a car nut. And I remember when I was very little, my dad would take me to those like overhang bridges, go over those. Would be just staying up there, look at cars. I could pretty much know all the badges of the cars when I was like 8, 9 years old. I think it's just in my blood. I cannot take it away from me. The only thing that I think about it would be make some money, buy some cars, and feed the family.
What does your family think of the car?
My wife thinks it's cool. My dad drove it once. He came out, told me it's a tractor. Yeah, why do you want the tractor?